A 25-year-old woman's private moment of grief becomes viral content when a stranger films her eating alone in a food court. 100,000 views later, she discovers the kind gesture destroyed her privacy and reveals everything wrong with social media culture. Before we begin, tell us in the comments from which city are you watching. And at the end, do not forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story. Thursday morning, Los Angeles. Maya woke up to sunlight streaming through her bedroom window, and for the first time in 10 days, she felt not good exactly, but ready to try. She was 25 years old, a housewife, which people had opinions about, but that's a different story. Her husband worked long hours. Her friends worked normal hours. And Maya had spent the last week and a half living in a grief so private, so raw, that even leaving the house felt like exposing a wound. But Thursday was going to be different. She'd planned it carefully. A self-care day. The kind of day that's supposed to help you remember what it feels like to be human again, to exist in your body without constantly thinking about what it couldn't do, what it had lost. First stop, the hair salon. She sat in the chair for an hour and a half while someone else's hands worked through her hair, and for those 90 minutes she didn't have to think. She just got to be a person in a chair getting a service, existing normally. Then, a facial. More beauty treatments. Little acts of maintenance that felt like self-compassion. Like telling her body, I'm still here, I still care about you, even though you feel like you failed me. By early afternoon, Maya was hungry. She'd worked up an appetite for the first time in days, and that felt like progress. That felt like healing. She decided on Westfield Topanga, a big shopping mall with a food court. Busy enough that she could disappear into the crowd, loud enough that she wouldn't be alone with her thoughts, public enough that she'd have to hold it together, which sometimes is exactly what you need. She wasn't sad to be going alone. That's important. Her friends were at work. Like normal people on a Thursday, Jessica was in back-to-back meetings. Lauren was teaching a class. Emma was at the hospital doing her nursing shift. They'd texted her that morning. Have fun! You deserve this. Send pics, and Maya had smiled at her phone. She wasn't lonely. She was just alone. And there's a difference. She found parking, walked into the mall. The overhead lights were bright and fluorescent in that specific mall way. The smell of pretzels and Chinese food and coffee mixed together. The sound of dozens of conversations blending into white noise. Maya looked at the food court options and decided on ramen. Something warm, something comforting, something she could eat slowly. She ordered, paid, found a table near the center, not hidden in a corner, not seeking isolation, just a table. A normal spot where a normal person might sit on a normal Thursday. She sat down, pulled out her phone, queued up a podcast, and picked up her chopsticks. For the next 20 minutes, Maya was just going to eat lunch. That was the plan anyway. She had no idea she was being watched. The thing about grief is that it doesn't announce itself. Maya sat at that food court table, AirPods in, bowl of ramen steaming in front of her, and from the outside, she probably looked fine, normal, maybe a little tired, maybe a little quiet, but nothing alarming. Nothing that screamed, this person is suffering. But inside was different. 10 days earlier, Maya had lost something she'd wanted desperately, a pregnancy, her first. She'd been 12 weeks along when it happened, far enough that she'd started to believe it was real. Far enough that she'd whispered to her husband late at night about names, about nurseries, about what their life was going to look like. Not far enough that she'd told most people. Not far enough that the world knew what she'd lost. That's the thing about miscarriage. It's a private devastation. You grieve someone no one else met. You mourn a future only you imagined. And when you walk through the world afterward, you're carrying this enormous loss that's completely invisible to everyone around you. Maya hadn't told many people. Just her husband, her mom, her best friend. She wasn't ready for the questions, the pity, the well-meaning comments that would somehow make it worse. She wasn't ready to hear, "It happens to so many women," or "You can try again," or "At least it was early." So she'd stayed home, stayed quiet, stayed in the small, contained space of her own grief. Thursday was her first real attempt to rejoin the world. She lifted the chopsticks to her mouth. The ramen was good, hot and salty, and exactly what she'd needed. She chewed slowly, scrolling through her phone without really reading anything, letting the noise of the food court wash over her. And then she saw them. 2 women. 2 tables over, both pushing strollers, both leaning over their babies, making those cooing sounds, adjusting tiny blankets, wiping tiny faces. Maya's chest tightened. She hadn't expected this. Hadn't thought about the fact that food courts are full of families, full of mothers, full of babies and carriers and toddlers in high chairs, and all the future she'd just lost. She blinked. Once. Twice. Tried to refocus on her phone, on her ramen, on anything else. But the tears came anyway. Not sobs, not a breakdown. Just tears. The kind that form in the corners of your eyes when you're trying so hard to hold it together that your body rebels and cries anyway. She wasn't making a scene, wasn't crying, obviously. Just tearing up, just feeling it. And then her hands started shaking. This is something Maya's hands had always done. Ever since she was a kid. When she eats, her hands shake slightly. Not from nervousness, not from emotion, just a thing her body does. Some mild essential tremor that doctors had shrugged at and said was harmless. But to someone watching without context, to someone who didn't know her, it looked like she was falling apart. Maya set down her chopsticks for a second, took a breath, wiped quickly at her eyes, hoping no one had noticed, picked the chopsticks back up, kept eating. She just wanted to finish her lunch, just wanted to get through this moment, just wanted to exist without everything feeling so heavy. What she didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that someone had noticed. Someone who saw a young woman sitting alone, shaking slightly, tears in her eyes, eating ramen by herself in a crowded mall. Someone who saw that and thought, "This is an opportunity." And that someone pulled out her phone. Let's talk about what happens when you see a stranger who looks sad. There's this instinct, this very human, very understandable instinct to help, to reach out, to do something kind, to be the person who made someone's day better. It's a good instinct, in theory, but somewhere between intention and action, something's gotten warped. Somewhere along the way, helping became documenting. Kindness became content. A private person became a character in someone else's story. The woman, let's call her Sarah, though that's not her real name, was sitting 3 tables away from Maya. She'd come to the mall for the same reason most people do. Shopping, lunch, killing time. She'd noticed Maya immediately. That girl looks so sweet, Sarah thought. Sitting all alone. Is she crying? She watched as Maya wiped at her eyes, watched the slight tremor in her hands, watched her eating slowly, carefully, like someone trying very hard to hold themselves together. Oh, that's so sad. She's all by herself. She looks like she needs a friend. Sarah felt it then. That warm, satisfying feeling of an idea. A good deed waiting to happen. I should go sit with her. I should ask if she's okay. I should let her know she's not alone. She imagined the conversation, the surprise on the girl's face, the grateful smile, the connection. Maybe they'd even exchange numbers. Maybe Sarah would make a real difference in this stranger's day. It felt good. Imagining it felt really, really good. But Sarah didn't stand up, didn't walk over, didn't introduce herself. Instead, she pulled out her phone. She opened TikTok, angled the camera carefully, made sure Maya was centered in the frame, the shaking hands, the glistening eyes, the hair bow, which Sarah thought was kind of cute, but also kind of immature, something she'd mention later in comments, the bowl of ramen, the solitary figure in a crowd. She hit record. The video was 10 seconds long. Just 10 seconds. Maya, unaware, lifting chopsticks to her mouth. Maya blinking back tears. Maya's hands trembling slightly. Maya's face, vulnerable, private, unguarded, captured in high definition. Sarah added a caption. She looked so sweet sitting all alone, I'm going to go sit with her. She added music. Something soft and emotional. The kind of audio that says, "This is a heartwarming moment." She hesitated for just a second. Should I? But the feeling was too good. The sense of doing something kind, being someone who cares, creating a moment worth sharing. She posted it. And then Sarah finished her own lunch, threw away her trash, and went shopping. She checked her phone a few times over the next hour. The video was getting views. Comments were rolling in. People were saying nice things. About Sarah's kindness, about the sweet girl in the video, about how this restored their faith in humanity. Sarah felt good, really good. She never did go sit with Maya. Meanwhile, 3 tables away, Maya finished her ramen. She threw away her trash, walked back through the mall, drove home, took a long shower, changed into comfortable clothes, texted her friends. Self-care day was good, needed it. Thanks for encouraging me. She had no idea what had just been done to her. Friday night, 24 hours later, her phone buzzed. Her friend Jessica's name appeared on the screen. A text, a link, and 3 words that would change everything. You need to see this. Have you ever had that moment where you open a link and your stomach drops before you even know why? That's what happened to Maya. She was sitting on her couch, comfortable, safe. Her husband was in the other room making dinner. The apartment smelled like garlic and olive oil. Everything was fine. She clicked the link. TikTok opened. The video autoplayed. And there she was. Not through her own eyes. Not through her own memory. But through a stranger's phone. Through an algorithm. Through a platform she didn't even use. There she was, sitting at the food court table. Hands shaking. Eyes glistening with tears she'd thought were private. Hair bow visible. She'd forgotten she'd even worn it. Eating ramen, alone. The caption read, "She looked so sweet sitting all alone, I'm going to go sit with her." The view count read, 127,439. Maya's first thought was, is this really me? Her second thought was, why would someone... Her third thought was, oh my God, over 100,000 people have seen this. Her hands, the same hands that were shaking in the video, started shaking again. For a different reason this time. She watched it again. And again. Each time hoping she'd misunderstood. Each time hoping it wasn't as bad as she thought. But it was worse. Because she could see exactly what those 127,000 people saw. A girl alone, hands trembling, tears visible, eating sadly, looking pathetic, looking lonely, looking like someone who needed to be saved. That's not who she was. That's not what that moment was. But that's what the video said. That's the story it told, and 127,000 strangers believed it. Maya scrolled down to the comments. She knew she shouldn't, knew it would make it worse. But she couldn't stop herself. The first comment, top of the page, 8,492 likes. OMG, I want to give her a hug. Second comment, this is so sweet you're going to make her day. Third comment, did you actually go talk to her? Update, please! Maya scrolled faster. Poor girl eating all alone. She's literally crying, I'm gonna cry. Someone please be her friend. Then, buried in the middle, she's cute, but she needs to lose the hair bow. Lol. Maya stopped scrolling. The hair bow. You could barely see it in the video. It was a small dark bow clipped to the side of her head. She'd worn it because it matched her outfit, and because she liked it, and because, honestly, she was 25 years old and could wear whatever she wanted. But someone had seen it. Someone had decided that Maya, a stranger, a real person they would never meet, needed to change something about herself, needed fashion advice, needed to know that her choices were wrong. Not, I hope she's okay. Not, maybe don't film strangers without permission. Just, Lose the hair bow. Maya kept scrolling. The comments blurred together. Why is she alone? I would never eat by myself, that's so depressing. Someone needs to check on her. Main character energy. She's shaking, OMG, is she okay? Every single one of them making assumptions. Every single one of them creating a narrative. Every single one of them believing they knew her story from 10 seconds of footage. And then Maya realized something that made her stomach turn. There was no follow-up video. The caption said, "I'm going to go sit with her." But there was no part 2. No video of the filmmaker actually walking over. No conversation. No heartwarming moment where connection was made. Just this. Maya's private grief, documented and posted and consumed by strangers who thought they were witnessing kindness. Sarah, the woman who filmed her, had never intended to sit with Maya at all. She just intended to film her, to turn her into content, to get views. Maya looked up from her phone. Her husband was standing in the doorway, spatula in hand, concern on his face. "Babe," he said. "What's wrong?" Maya's voice came out flat, stunned. "Someone filmed me yesterday, at the mall. I'm viral." And in that moment, Maya understood something she'd never had to understand before. Your private moments aren't private if someone decides they're not. Your worst day can become entertainment. Your grief can become content, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Well, almost nothing. Let's talk about what happens when 100,000 strangers think they know your story. Maya didn't have social media. She'd deleted Instagram 2 years ago, never had TikTok, barely used Facebook. She'd made that choice deliberately, because she valued her privacy, because she didn't like performing her life, because she just wanted to exist without an audience. And yet, here she was. An audience anyway. She couldn't stop reading the comments, even though each one felt like a small violation, even though she knew it would make her angrier. She kept scrolling. Most of them were nice. That's what made it so confusing, so infuriating. OMG, I want to give her a hug from someone who didn't know she existed, would never know she existed, had no idea what she actually needed. Someone please be her friend, as if friends were something you acquired through pity, as if Maya didn't have people who loved her. This made me so sad. I hope she's okay. Turning Maya's private moment into this person's emotional experience, making her pain about their feelings. Poor thing eating all alone. Alone, yes. Poor? No. Her friends were at work, like adults. On a Thursday. She's literally crying because she has no one. She was crying because 10 days ago she'd lost a pregnancy. But sure, make up whatever story makes you feel something. I would never eat alone, that's so depressing. Good for you. Some of us do it all the time. It's actually very normal. Why doesn't she have any friends? She does. They were at their jobs. This isn't the devastating mystery you think it is. She's cute, but she needs to lose the hair bow. 4,721 likes. The bow is giving middle school. 892 likes. Hair bow aside, she seems sweet. As if the hair bow were some tragic fashion emergency that needed to be addressed before Maya could be properly appreciated. Maya read these and thought, you can barely see the bow in the video. It's a tiny detail. Why is this what you're focusing on? Why do you think you have any right to tell me, a stranger, a real person, what I should wear? But she knew why. Because to them, she wasn't real. She was a character, a 10-second clip, a girl in a video whose fashion choices were fair game because she'd been made into content. This is why I love TikTok. People still care, except no one actually helped. They just watched. Faith in humanity restored. Faith in what? In filming strangers? The person who posted this is so sweet for checking on her. They didn't check on her. They filmed her. That's not the same thing. And this was what made Maya angriest. Even the nice comments were violations. Even the people saying sweet things were participating in something that should never have happened. Because nice comments don't erase the fundamental problem. She never consented to any of this. She didn't consent to being filmed. She didn't consent to being posted. She didn't consent to 100,000 people analyzing her appearance, her emotional state, her life choices. She didn't consent to strangers debating whether she had friends, whether she was depressed, whether her hair bow was age-appropriate. She was just trying to eat lunch. And the worst part, the part that kept Maya up that night, was that everyone thought they were being kind. The comments were overwhelmingly positive, supportive, empathetic, which meant that if Maya said, "Hey, this violated my privacy," if she tried to explain why this was wrong, she'd be the bad guy. She'd be the ungrateful person who couldn't appreciate that people cared. She was trapped. If she stayed silent, the video would keep spreading. Her private moment would keep being consumed by strangers. If she spoke up, she'd be accused of overreacting, of being ungrateful, of not understanding that it was just a video, just the internet, just someone trying to be nice. But Maya had a friend who understood immediately. Jessica, the one who'd sent her the link, the one who'd known instantly that this was wrong. And Jessica wasn't going to stay silent. Friday night, 11:47 p.m. While Maya sat on her couch processing the fact that 100,000 plus strangers had seen her at her most vulnerable, her phone rang. Jessica. "Hey," Maya answered, her voice flat. "I'm so fucking angry right now," Jessica said without preamble. "Are you okay?" "I don't know." "Do you want me to do something about it?" Maya hesitated. "Like what?" "Like message them and tell them to delete it." The thing was, Maya didn't have TikTok, couldn't message the filmmaker herself, couldn't even report the video because she didn't have an account and the platform makes it nearly impossible for non-users to do anything. But Jessica did. "Yeah," Maya said finally. "Yeah, okay, tell them to delete it." Jessica didn't wait, didn't overthink it. Just opened TikTok, found the video, which now had 143,000 views, and clicked through to Sarah's profile. She sent a direct message. "Hi. The girl in your video is my friend. She didn't consent to being filmed. Can you please delete this?" Sarah replied within minutes. "Why would I delete it? I was just trying to be nice. Everyone in the comments is being so sweet about her." Jessica stared at her phone, took a breath, typed, "That's not the point. She didn't ask to be filmed. She didn't ask to be posted. She's a real person who deserves privacy. She was in a public space. I'm allowed to film in public." Jessica's jaw clenched. Allowed to should. Just because something is legal doesn't make it right. Would you want 100,000 strangers watching you on your worst day? I wasn't on my worst day, and I thought I was helping. You didn't help. You filmed. Did you actually go sit with her like your caption said? 3 minutes passed. Then, "The comments are overwhelmingly positive. Everyone loves it. I don't understand why this is a problem." Jessica called Maya, put her on speaker, typed, "The positive comments don't matter. You turned a stranger's private moment into content without asking. That's the problem. The fact that you can't see that is exactly the problem. Look, I get that you're trying to protect your friend, but she was in public. People film in public all the time. This is what TikTok is." And there it was. The fundamental gap between Sarah's worldview and reality. This is what TikTok is. As if that justified it. As if the platform's entire culture of filming strangers made it okay. As if widespread behavior erased the need for consent. Jessica typed, "Just because everyone does it doesn't make it right. Your friend is a person, not content. Her bad day isn't your opportunity. Please delete it." But people are being so nice to her. She doesn't want nice comments from strangers. She wants privacy. Delete the video. Sarah went quiet for a long time. Jessica and Maya sat there, phone between them, waiting. Finally, "Fine. But I still think you're overreacting. I really was trying to do something kind." "Then next time, actually do it. Go talk to the person. Don't film them. Kindness isn't content." 5 minutes later, the video was gone. Maya refreshed the link Jessica had sent. Error message. This video is no longer available. She should have felt relief. should have felt like she'd won. But she didn't. Because Maya knew what Sarah clearly didn't. The video was gone from TikTok. But screenshots existed. Screen recordings existed. Reaction videos probably existed. Somewhere in the vast internet, her face, her tears, her shaking hands, her private grief was still out there. Once something's posted, it never fully disappears. "Thank you," Maya said to Jessica, "for fighting for me." "Always," Jessica replied. "I'm sorry that happened to you." "Me too." They hung up. Maya sat in the quiet of her apartment. Her husband had gone to bed an hour ago. She was alone with her thoughts. Alone with the knowledge that she'd been seen by over 100,000 people without permission. Alone with the question, how do you heal from a violation when the person who violated you doesn't even understand what they did wrong? And that's the question we need to talk about. The video came down, but the violation stayed. In the days that followed, Maya thought a lot about what had happened, about the gap between intention and impact, about the way kindness had been weaponized without anyone even realizing it. She thought about Sarah, the woman who filmed her, and here's the thing, Maya didn't think Sarah was a bad person. She didn't think Sarah woke up that day planning to hurt someone. Sarah genuinely thought she was doing something nice, but that's exactly what makes this so insidious. When harm is wrapped in good intentions, it becomes almost impossible to call out. Because the second you say, "Hey, that hurt me," you're positioned as the problem. You're ungrateful. You're overreacting. You don't understand that they meant well. So let's be very, very clear about something. Good intentions do not erase the need for consent. Sarah's desire to help doesn't give her the right to film Maya without asking. The nice comments don't undo the violation of being posted without permission. The fact that it's common on TikTok doesn't make it okay. Let's talk about what actually happened in that food court. What Sarah saw. A young woman alone. Hands shaking, tears in her eyes, must be lonely, must be sad, must need saving. What was actually true? Maya's friends were at work like normal adults on a Thursday. She wasn't lonely. She was alone. There's a difference. The shaking was a lifelong physical quirk, nothing to do with emotion. The tears were about a miscarriage 10 days prior, private grief, not public loneliness. She didn't need saving. She needed space. She was having a self-care day, trying to heal. Every single assumption was wrong. And that's what happens when you create narratives about strangers. You project your own stories onto them. You see what you want to see. You make them characters instead of people. Sarah said, she was in a public space. I can film in public. Let's talk about that. Yes, legally, in most places, you can film in public spaces. The law protects that. But the law is not a moral compass. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Here's what people miss. Just because you're in public doesn't mean your private moments become everyone's content. It doesn't mean your grief, your vulnerability, you're just trying to eat lunch is fair game for documentation. You deserve to exist in public spaces without becoming part of someone else's narrative. But what if the comments are nice? Doesn't matter. But what if I'm trying to help? Ask first. But what if? Stop. If you want to help someone, help them. Go talk to them. Offer actual support. Be a real human connecting with another real human. If your first instinct is to pull out your phone, you're not helping. You're creating content, and that's not the same thing. This isn't just about Maya. This isn't just about one video. This is about a culture that has normalized making strangers into entertainment, that has blurred the line between documentation and violation, that has convinced people that filming someone without permission is sweet as long as the comments are nice. When did we decide that other people's private moments were ours to capture? When did we decide that consent doesn't matter as long as we meant well? When did we decide that everyone does it was a good enough reason? We didn't decide. It just happened. Slowly. Platform by platform. video by video, until filming strangers became so normal that questioning it makes you the weird one. But it's not normal. It's not okay, and it's time we said that clearly. Maya told me something recently that stuck with me. She said, "I wasn't crying because I was alone. I was crying because I'd lost something I wanted desperately, and for a brief moment seeing other people with babies reminded me of that loss. And somehow, that private moment of grief, that very human moment of just feeling something, became entertainment for people who will never know my name. That's what we're doing when we film strangers without consent. We're taking their humanity and flattening it into content. We're taking their context, all the things that make them real, complex people, and reducing it to a 10-second narrative that fits our expectations. And we're doing it without asking, without caring, without thinking about the impact. Maya's video was deleted, after a fight, after her friend had to advocate for her, after she'd already been seen by over 100,000 people. But she got something else out of this experience: clarity. She's not embarrassed anymore. She's angry. She's clear. She knows that what happened to her was wrong, and she's not afraid to say it. She knows that eating alone in a mall food court is completely normal. That alone doesn't mean lonely. That grief is private. That her worth isn't determined by strangers' comments about her hair bow. She knows that she deserves to exist in public without becoming content, and so do you. If you take one thing from Maya's story, let it be this. Before you film a stranger, ask yourself, would I want this done to me on my worst day? Before you post someone's vulnerable moment, ask yourself, do I have permission or just opportunity? Before you defend it with "I meant well," ask yourself, does my intention matter more than their autonomy? The answer should be obvious. Maya was just trying to eat ramen. She deserved to do it without becoming a cautionary tale, without having to explain herself to 100,000 strangers, without being turned into content. She deserved privacy. We all do, even in public, especially in public. Ask before you film, every single time. And if you can't ask, or if the answer would be no, then don't film. It's really that simple. Thank you for listening to Maya's story. Thank you for being the kind of people who understand that privacy matters, that consent matters, that other humans deserve to exist without becoming our content. If this story resonated with you, if you've been filmed without permission, if you've eaten alone and been judged for it, if you've ever had strangers make assumptions about your life, leave a comment. I want to hear your story. You're not alone in this. And if you believe that these conversations matter, that we need to talk more about consent in the age of constant documentation, that privacy is a right worth protecting, subscribe. Because this isn't the last story we need to tell about these issues. Remember, your private moments are yours. Your grief is yours. Your right to exist without an audience is yours. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and please, ask before you film. Always.